Hey guys, what's up? So, new video. Hey. Oh my god. Sorry if like lighting is actually so bad. I just have like a lamp right there, because if it's not, it'll look like this, and that's just a little too dark. I like it, but like you guys probably won't, so we're going with that. And I also have hat hair because I wear a hat all day, so we're just gonna. It's still really dark, but it's from okay, it's fine. So this video is another book related video. I'm sorry, I know you probably don't like book videos, but I do, so just unsubscribe if you don't. So I know I posted one last week, but yeah. So this video is like what I've read so far this year, because it's almost summer and I'm gonna read a lot this summer. So like at the end of like the full year, I'm not gonna want to do like all the books I read. So I've read 19 books so far, and I have most of them, almost all of them here, other than like a couple, because I got them from someplace else. So yeah. So the first book I read was Into the Gray by Celine Kiernan. I'm not going to describe these books because there's a lot of them, and you guys can just look them up on like Goodreads or something. So I gave this one a 1 out of 5, just because I didn't like the way it was written, and I felt like I was going into a story like right in the middle of it, so that kind of sucked. But yeah, it was alright, but I gave it a 1 out of 5 stars, so I didn't love it. Next was, where is this? At the Edge of the Universe by Sean David Hutchinson. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars because it was actually really good, but there was still some parts, like one part that I was confused on, but it was answered like right away, so that made it so much better. And it is, yeah, so this is the side of it. It was really good, and I highly recommend this book. Next book I read was Fangirl by Rainbow Rowan. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars because it was once again amazing. I gave a ton of books so far 5 out of 5 stars, but this book was so good. I would definitely read it again. Yeah, that's all I'm really gonna say. So the next book I read was Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda, which is the movie Love, Simon. I've not seen the movie yet because I'm broke and I spent all my money on books instead of going to movie theaters. But this book was actually so good. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I just loved the characters in it, and how Simon, the main character, just like developed throughout the entire book. That was fantastic. So highly recommend this book. The next book I read was, okay, well, I didn't read this one. This one was for school, and my teacher read it out to us, so I'm counting this one as an audiobook. So it was The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by, oh yeah, Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda was written by Becky Albertalli. There you go. But then I read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Bowen. I don't have that book on me or with me at all, but my teacher read that out to us, and I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars just because I liked the movie better than the book, which always deducts a star in my point. So next I read Symptoms of Being Human by Jeff Garvin. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and I think the only reason I took a point off was because I usually like to read books like, I don't know how to describe this, but I don't like to stop when I have to stop, and I had to read this one for a school project, so I think it made it kind of choppy. But it was still a really phenomenal book, and I highly recommend it. Next book I read was literally like one of my favorites so far this year, was Carry On by Rainbow Rowan. And I give this one a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved, oh my god, the characters and just like the storyline. The only thing that I didn't love necessarily was the ending, which I feel like it could have been longer, but this is already a pretty thick book. Thick. Even though it's still really long, I feel like she could have added another like couple chapters on like the ending, or she could just make a whole nother book and I'd be happy. So whatever you want to do, Rainbow Rowan. Why did I say that? Whatever you want to do, Rainbow Rowan. Okay. Next I read, sorry I'm going through these really fast, but next I read Cook by Chris Vick. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. It kind of took me a while to get into it, but then the ending like almost made me start crying, but I couldn't because I was at my cousin's house, which sucked when I finished it. But it literally took my heart and like made it go in 1,000 loops. Nobody says that. 1,000 loops like makes your heart go in 1,000 loops. What the heck? I am so sorry. Honestly, such a good book, but it took me a little bit to get into it. And I guess that's more my fault than the author's fault, so sorry. Next I read The City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars because once again it took me a while to get into, but once I was into it, it was such a good book. And look at this cover. Oh my god, it's literally gorgeous. Gorgeous? Gorgeous. I can't pronounce that word. But this is such a good book, and I'm so excited to read like all of the following books after this, but I don't have the money to buy them at the moment because they're kind of expensive and I can't find them on Book Outlet. So that is terrible news. Okay, next I read The Edge of Everything by Jeff Giles. This was discounted book at Barnes & Noble, so I got it. But, okay, look at this. One More Soul, gorgeous. But this, I didn't think I was going to like this book because I didn't really know the premise behind it and I didn't quite understand. But then I loved it. I started loving it halfway through because, once again, it was kind of slow in the beginning. But, like, in the beginning, it was explaining the whole world and everything like that. So I was, like, okay with it. And Jeff Giles is coming out with the sequel in September, I think. I could be 100% wrong on this. I honestly have no clue. But, oh my god, I'm so excited for that. Just because it like left off like really well, so I want to know what happened after. Next, I read Autobiography by Christina Lauren, another fantastic book. Read it in literally 4 hours. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I also gave The Edge of Everything 5 out of 5 stars. But I gave this 5 out of 5 because, oh my god, the 2 characters in it are so amazing. Like, they're just so good, and their relationship with each other makes me want to, like, actually... Oh my god, I just can't explain how well this book is written and just the concept behind it, because it's a lot about like writing itself. Well, not writing itself, but it is a big part of writing, and I love writing, but I'm not very good at it, and I love reading other people's writing, as you can tell. And it was just, oh my god, so good. It was such a good book, highly recommend. Next book is also an audiobook I read for school, and it was Scar Island by Dan Jamini Hart. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars just because there's the main character, and it took the author like a long time, like until like the end, to figure out what the author it took the author a while to actually like describe the character, which I guess that's the main part of the book, but it was just kind of like disappointing, but it was still really a decent book. Like, the backstory was good, but it's just not my kind of book. Next, I read History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. Like, Adam Silvera's writing is so good, but I'm just disappointed because, like, in every single one of his books, the end turns out the same, which, like, I'm okay with. I don't really care. I wish they didn't turn out like that, but I'm pretty sure that's how he writes his books, so they end off like that. And oh my god, it was such a good book. This book made me cry too many times. So it's just, I can relate so much to this book, but like at the same time I can't, so it's good to read about it. So I highly recommend that book. I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Afterworlds by Scott Westerfield. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars just because I didn't quite understand it in the beginning, but then it like made sense towards the end and I loved it. But this book I'm going to talk a little bit more about because I really liked it. But with this book, you can see like some of them are white and some of them are gray. And the white ones are, so it's mainly about this girl who's writing a story, or she already wrote a story, and this is her life after like going to New York and trying to get it published. Well, like getting it published and stuff. So the white is in her point of view and the gray is in her book. So it was so good. I loved the way it was written, and I liked how the author had it, so some pages were white, some pages were gray, so it made me understand more like whose point of view was in which. So I loved both of it was kind of like 2 books put into one, and I liked how all of the characters developed in it. And this book was also diverse. There is a LGBTQ couple in it. I'm not sure if that's the right way to put it, but it was very well written. Next book was More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. I didn't love this book. This book I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I loved the way it was written, but I didn't like what happened in it. It kind of threw me off. So I would recommend you to read this book just to understand what it's like, but I don't love it. Next, I don't have this book with me because this one I just want to add in. So for German, we had to read a book. And the one I read was Arma Anna by Blaine Ray. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. Just because, one, I'm not very good in German. This is like my first year of taking it. So it was really hard to follow what was going on. And this is literally just my fault because I suck at German. But the storyline I didn't also love, which I suppose they had to make it easier so like people could read it. So yeah, I guess that one was alright. I also don't have this book. So next is 9/10, a September 11th story by Nora Raylan Baskin. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars just because there's so many different points of views in it, and I also didn't like how it ended. I might do a full like review just on this alone. I probably won't, but maybe, because this one I had to do for school and like we did a lot of reviews and stuff for it. So it was I recommend this book to see what 9/11 was like for some people, but I don't love the story concept. Next, I read Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars because I was kind of confused like during some points about like the Thunderhead and stuff. But it was such a good book. I loved how it ended, and I love the cover too, and like the way it feels. Oh my god! Such a good book. The most recent book I read was Pieces by Chris Lynch. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars because the premise of the book was good, but I just didn't like how it ended or really like what happened throughout the entire book. I wish there was another one talking about what happened before this book, but there's not. It's also super short, so I read it in literally 3 days. So yeah, those are all of the books I read this year so far. It's not compared to my friends at school, it's a ton, but like compared to other booktubers, it's not that much. But that's how much I read. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Comment down below some videos you want me to watch. No. Okay, comment down below some videos you want me to make, just because I'm really bad at thinking about ideas. And bye.